Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot. I am back after a little brief hiatus. I took a trip to the West Coast. I'm in Florida. Thank you for your sympathy. Um, so went out to LA and, saw some people and did some things and just got rejuvenated. Got a little sniffles going on here just from all the travel and difference in air temperatures and all of that. But I am back in the saddle. Thank you all for being patient with me. I'm checking in with you all. I am going to do a new moon pick a card no later than Saturday. The new moon is on the 17th, new moon in Cancer. So that's going to be juicy. I got that coming up for you. But I just didn't want to stay away too long, so I thought I'd check in with you all today on a quick political read. Yesterday, you all, the hearings and the testimony with Chris Wray, it was downright hostile, right? And I know, maybe I'm just need to get over being maybe a teensy weensy bit still naive when it comes to these things in terms of, decorum and a sense of having respect in that type of environment. But watching, the replays of Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz, I was just stunned, and it made me just think again about how far we have gone, or how far the far right has gone. Not to mention, I woke up this morning to the news that now, the far right, many of the far right in Congress are now trying to, put forth a bill to defund our efforts in Ukraine and assistance to Ukraine, which, of course, across the board, everyone's response to that, GOP and Dems has been, that's not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen. But the notion that this, it's like every time the needle gets pushed a little farther along, going off the edge of that cliff on the far right, somebody else stands there on the cliff and says, well, look, how deep can we go, right? Here's what I'm wondering. And again, going back to Chris Wray, he was appointed by Trump. He said one of his answers, I think it was he was addressing Jim Jordan or one of those idiots. He says, this is really weird that you all are accusing, me and the FBI of essentially protecting the Bidens and pushing some Democratic agenda because I was appointed by Trump. I was the guy that Trump was like, this is my guy. He's going to do what we need him to do. He is a conservative, his history, he is a conservative. And so he's like, it made me think for a moment, wow, this is interesting. Now we're at a phase where we are starting to watch them eat their own, okay? We are watching them eat their own. And somehow, some way, Marjorie Taylor Greene has not gotten eaten up yet. I thought she was when that little caucus that she belongs to, the Freedom Caucus, seems like she had gotten on their bad side. But she still seems to be squirming her way around, perhaps because she's still being quite useful to McCarthy, who, see, when you sell your soul to the devil, devil's going to come to collect, right? And McCarthy's got his work cut out for him now more than ever. That's going to be an entertaining thing. Let's see what happens between now and September when it's time to deal with the government funding. Don't feel sorry for him a bit. He's not somebody who elicits sympathy, but it's just really interesting how hard he had to fight. Remember all the votes that were taken, and, he just kept selling off little chunks of his soul, just selling it off because he wanted that power. And now that he's finding out the power is actually, he is being run by the powers that be, quote unquote, or the powers that want to be. He has no real power, he's whatever. But it's interesting just to see karma never misses. And it's just beginning for him. It is just beginning for McCarthy, right? And it's interesting to see that Marjorie has decided to really closely align herself with him. I want to, at some point we're going to look into that a little more. I'm trying to see what her long game is. If some of you have some ideas about that, I'd love to hear it. But anyway, what I wanted to get on here and do a few cards for you for today is when I was watching, the testimony yesterday with Chris Wray, it made me think, if they're going to start eating their own, This could really work to our advantage in 2024. Because I am really starting to wonder if more and more conservatives are going to, especially more centrist conservatives are going to start heading our way and recognizing, listen, we've got to at the very least, start working with people who are thinking and who are trying to make good decisions, okay? So I'm just going to ask, how can that start to happen? And, are we going to see whether whether it is acknowledged or not, are we going to start to see more conservatives who are going to be ready to not necessarily switch party affiliations? That would just be too good to be true, but begin to vote their conscience versus their politics, vote their values in terms of what they know fundamentally is right. And to the extent that Bidenomics, to the extent that Biden's economic agenda can still, keep steam and keep going, that the extent to which inflation can be brought down and tick down a little more as we go into election season, that might really work to our advantage in terms of having more conservatives start to look at the Democratic Party as, not this just politicized thing, but as, an organized group of people who represent the values that we all want, party affiliation aside. We all want certain freedoms. We all want to live well. We all want to be able to have less polarization and a sense of being proud to be in America, instead of America continuing to become, sort of this kind of response that I'm sure so many in the world are starting to have with us. And the notion that, pulling funding from Ukraine, where the whole notion of our ability to provide that assistance to Ukraine to hopefully at some point help Ukraine become a part of NATO. These things, forming these relationships, is a part of what helps our economy. It is a part, yes, do we have to watch, make sure that the wheel doesn't get tilted too far in terms of jobs lost and etc. We've been down that road, but still we are a part of a global society and there is no going back. I think if nothing else, the COVID-19 pandemic taught us that we are not some insulated little island unto our little American selves. We are a part of a global world and a global economy. And the more that we can, foster, relationships that are advantageous to us, it is not about a power grab. If you look at it in a strictly political sense, that argument could be made. It has been made for years. But it just makes sense. It is the world that we live in. And so these people who are promoting this, very insulated, Trump was all about that. But anyway, I digress. I want to know, Spirit, all of these shenanigans, these latest shenanigans where the conservatives the far right are starting to eat their own. Is it going to draw more votes our way? Are people going to start to, whether they do it openly or not, are they going to start to jump ship? 6 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. That's a pretty good indication. There's already people who are preparing to do it. And the thing is, with the 6 of Wands, this is a process, right? This is sort of like building momentum. People are beginning to get, conservatives are beginning to get those centrist, middle of the line thinking, Mitt Romney-esque conservatives are beginning to say this is enough. Michael Steele, I caught a little segment from him yesterday on with Joy Reid on MSNBC. Michael Steele, who I have had, I've had some mixed feelings about him over the years. But, having people who are true to their conservative ideals and yet truly have a better grasp of what democracy is about and what our two-party system should be about. I think there are going to be more people beginning to work with us. Queen of Swords. Ooh, so there's a feminine. That's you know what? This could be Cheney. This could be Liz Cheney, speaking more and more to that, to that notion of getting more towards the center, and that could be, or there's someone else that's going to come on the forefront, on the political forefront, and very sharp, very wise, and very able to advance, ideas that are common to both sides of the table. more bipartisanship. And the Nine of Cups, there's definitely a desire. I will tell you that hands down. There is a desire among people who have traditionally voted Republican and may still really want to, but I think, when they go in those voting booths and it's time to truly decide, how do I want to live? What kind of world do I want to live in? What kind of country do I want to, stand for and be proud of? The whole thing, that would take me off on another topic. But now the notion of what's happening with the military, you all, and what they are preparing to take away funding from the military, no promotions, like what in the world? But guess what? Okay, keep it up. Keep it up, because I really think this is going to backfire and boomerang, and it's going to send more people our way. We have a 10 of Wands. People are fed up, frustrated. This is not what I signed up for. This is not the party that my parents that I was raised around. These are not this does not reflect my ideals and how I see myself. You all, I think this is ultimately, while it is and the Lovers, choices are going to be made. Lines are being drawn in the sand, you all. Lines are being drawn in the sand, and I'm telling you, I from this, Spirit is saying clearly, we're going to wind up racking up some votes in 2024. And whether people ever let it be known, they may never even tell their own families what they really did. But I think we're going to see more and more votes come our way, the farther and farther off that extreme cliff these right-wing folks are going. Let them keep it up. Go ahead. Go ahead, do you, and see what happens as a result. All right, you guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, it's good to be back. And thank you for those who have left me little tips in my tip jar. I'll put a note on the bottom in the description box if you care to donate something. Always appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts. I wish you an incredible day. And again, check back with me in a couple of days for that new moon pick a card, all right? You all take good care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.